Hi, I'm Dr. Rene Hackney. Welcome to week 2, part 1 of 8 weeks to positive discipline. In this segment, we're going to be talking about giving positive intent. This is another foundation step. On your way into a discipline exchange, you're already, hopefully by now, thinking iMessages and empathy from week 1. Now, positive intent. Positive intent is how we think about a child's behavior, how we see their behavior coming into this discipline exchange. And the people who write about this want you to give kids the benefit of the doubt. They want you to see the good reason behind even the bad behaviors. This is based on the idea that the image we hold of someone, how we think about their behavior, shapes what we see. It shapes how we respond. It shapes the language we choose. The easiest example of this I can think of is actually between partners. Come home at the end of the day, see your partner laying on the couch. You can choose to think of them as tired and overwhelmed from their day, and you're going to approach them with that tone. You're going to use that language. Or you can see them laying on the couch and think of them as lazy. You're going to approach them in a whole different way. You're going to say different things. And it's not based on their behavior. They're just laying on the couch. It's based on your perception of their behavior, kind of what you think shapes what you see, a little more than the other way around. In these close ongoing relationships, the labels we give people become how they think of themselves, or at least how they think of themselves in terms of the dynamic of your relationship. We want to be really careful the labels we give to people. An example of positive intent between parent and child. I had a friend who was taking this class. She went home. She said, I was practicing positive intent, but then this horrible thing happened. Her 6-year-old and 3-year-old are riding trikes and bikes in the driveway, and she said, I have to get something off the table. Be right back. Second the screen door slams, she hears 3-year-old screaming from the driveway. Turns around, throws open the door. In that little bit of time, 6-year-old plowed over 3-year-old. She's upside down, bloody knees, crying. Mom said positive intent was out the window. So she went out yelling negative intent. You are always hurting people. What is wrong with you? I can't leave you alone for a minute. And the 6-year-old looked up and said, I was just trying to keep her in the yard. That's positive intent. The folks who write about this want you to assume that. They want you to assign it. They want you to give that freely to the situation. Meaning, hear the scream, open the door, see 6-year-old who plowed over 3-year-old, and at least think he could be trying to help. Which shapes your approach. It shapes the language you choose. I'm not saying let them off the hook. This doesn't tend to stand alone. The hook comes in the next sentence or two, and this actually allows them to take that hook, the choices, the consequence language. When mom goes out yelling negative intent, you are always hurting people, what is wrong with you? It's very hard for the 6-year-old to go, yeah, that's me. But when you go out with positive intent, I know you were trying to help. Yes, I was. Can step right into that. Can take ownership of the behavior, so more likely to listen to the discipline that comes next. The discipline that comes next is what limits the behavior, what moves you forward. So at least thinking, I know you want to help, but running over her hurts. Next time you can hold her handlebars, you can park your bike in front of her bike, you can call for mom, those are choices. And since that happened, we're putting the bikes away for 2 days. Consequence language. Fine to put the bikes away from running over your sister. That's a consequence. Let's say 3-year-old needed stitches. You're not thinking any of this. You're swooping up child and going to get stitches. But a few hours later, you're back home, you're calming down, thinking then, what could be the good reason behind that? Calms you and helps to shape that relationship, helps you in your approach to that child the next go around. Giving positive intent is a move from thinking child intentionally bad to child intentionally good, needing more guidance, needing better choices, needing more practice. I'll give you a harder example. Let's say my 9-year-old has another little 9-year-old over to play and gets angry and says, I am gonna get you, and pinches her. There is negative intent all over that. She's saying, I'm coming to get you. As a parent, you can start with, you are always hurting people, play date over. Or, I know you were trying to tell her you were angry. It's not glowingly positive, but it's better than you're such a rude, mean kid. It's this idea that you're giving them the benefit of the doubt so they can listen to the discipline that comes next, the choices, the consequences. This may feel liberal. This may feel like we're letting them off the hook, and it actually allows them to take that hook, and it allows them to continue listening. We had a dad who closed his notebook, and he's like, this isn't making a lot of sense. His example, it got too quiet in the house the other day, so I went to look for the kids, and they're in the bathroom playing with the big razor, starting to bleed a little. He said, I know they want to play, but there's no positive intent. That is the positive intent. I know you want to play. Look, you're bleeding. It's give the positive intent, limit the behavior, and then choices about where they can play, consequence of having to leave the bathroom door open and not be in the bathroom without an adult for a while. So it's just this idea that you want to give positive intent as you move in. The rule here is think it every time, even if you don't say it out loud. I don't tend to say it out loud when it's aggressive behaviors, but thinking it every time shifts how you view children's behaviors over time. This idea of giving positive intent, it brings the heat down of that argument. It brings a sense of calm to the situation. On the next page, there's some parent practice. If you haven't already gotten an outline, you might want to stop the video now and go to parentingbydrrene.com. The outline should be there. Do the parent practice for positive intent, then turn the video back on. I'll go over these answers with you. Your child repeatedly pinches you while you're talking on the phone. Positive intent. I know you want my attention. I know you want to tell me something. You can limit that with pinching hurts and give them some choices about how to get your attention or consequence for pinching. Older child yanking coloring book from younger child, saying, no, that's mine, it's special. Positive intent. I know that book is important to you. I see you want to protect it. The grabbing doesn't work. You can give them choices about how to get it back. You can give them consequence for grabbing. We'll get to all of that. Older child has a play date, younger child yelling at them. I know you want to play. It's so hard to feel left out. Now, often here, empathy and positive intent go together. I know you're upset. You really want to play. I know you're upset. You really want to play. It is empathy language, but the you really want to play is that positive intent as well. Those things get mushed together all the time, and that's completely fine. The idea with positive intent, seeing the good reason, is it keeps the communication open. And when you're giving negative intent, you're basically, again, picking an argument on the way into a discipline exchange. So the homework for this is to add positive intent. Every discipline exchange this week, you're still thinking of or coming up with an I message, an empathy, and now you're adding positive intent. Again, these are foundation steps. You might not see a lot of behavior change, but we're learning how to keep that communication open. We're learning how to calm a situation coming in. The rules around I messages and empathy are if you need them. I messages are if you're the angriest person in the room or you're laying blame. Sometimes you don't need them. Empathy is if your kids are really bent out of shape and you need to manage emotions before you dive in. Positive intent, think it every time. But for the purpose of this workshop, if you're taking the whole series, for this week, come up with all three. If you can't do it in the moment, maybe think about it afterwards. Jot down what happened, jot down an I message, an empathy, a positive intent. The more you practice even out of the moment, the more familiar this language becomes. Thank you.